It's Tuesday, April 4th, 2017, and we're going to tell you about upcoming fights. Welcome to the DO Boxing Show. I'm your host, Dameon Okposio. Thanks for tuning into another episode, and we're going to be talking about upcoming fights because there's a lot happening, and this is just in the Ontario area. So tonight, again, it's April the 4th. I'm going to be heading to the Shaw Festival this evening for a night of professional boxing. Now, the Shaw Festival has been around for a number of years. It is it's always a private event that's marked by 2 or 3 professional bouts, and tonight is no exception. It's going to be good boxing. There's going to be 3 fights. Starting off the fight card is going to be Dylan Rushton versus Tariq Ismail for the Vince Magnato Cup. Vince Magnato is one of the founders that started the boxing at the Shaw Festival, and he was inducted into the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame in 2016. The second fight of the night is Nathan Timberwolf Millier versus Irish Tim Cronin in the light heavyweight category. They're going to be fighting for a light heavyweight championship, a Canadian light heavyweight championship, and this fight is very interesting because one of my favorite fighters is Shaquille Finn, based out of Montreal, Quebec, and this falls well within that fight area. Shaquille Finn fights at the super middleweight and light heavyweight limit. So this is going to be an interesting fight to see if either of these guys, Millier or Cronin, eventually take on the Jamaican juggernaut, Shaquille Finn. And then in the main event, you have Kevin Higson versus Ryan Young. You could say a boxer against puncher. Well, both of these guys have good boxing skill, and this is going to be for the Canadian North American Super Welterweight Championship, and that's how it's listed on the program for the Shaw Festival. So it's going to be an interesting night of professional boxing, and I'm looking forward to it. As far as the rest of the month, there's a lot of amateur fights coming up in Ontario, which is a good thing. The month of April started off April 1st. Boxing Ontario had 2 shows, and they already went, so I'm going to focus on the upcoming shows for Boxing Ontario. Starting with April 7th, Fitz Vanderpool is going to be holding a show, and that is going to be at the St. George Banquet Hall, 665 Queen Street North in Waterloo. I hope to be there. It's going to be a good fight card, and I believe he's doing it to raise money for one of the many community endeavors that he is a part of. Also, on Friday, April 7th, Ryan Grant first of all, let me say that the Fitz Vanderpool show is a Boxing Ontario show. And then also on Friday, April the 7th, Ryan Grant is putting on a show with the Ontario Boxing Association at 315 Queen Street East in Toronto at the Berkeley Church, which is going to start at 7 p.m. More boxing. The next day, Saturday, April 8th, is the beginning of the Golden Gloves with the Ontario Boxing Association, and that is going to be hosted by Sid Vanderpool at 90 King Street West, 5 Elements Nightclub in Kitchener, Ontario. Another great fight card that I'm hoping to be at. This is going to be the first round of the Golden Gloves. Second round is going to be held and hosted by Ryan Grant at 4884 Dufferin Street in Toronto. And then the third and final round will be at the Oasis Convention Center, hosted by World Boxing Wars Everton McEwen at 1034 Lakeshore Road East in Mississauga. On April the 8th, Boxing Ontario has 2 shows on that date. Gideon and Jamestown Boxing Academy are putting on a show together at the Schwartz Reisman Center at 9600 Bathurst Street in Maple. And on April 8th, Warriors Boxing Club is having a show at 30 Adelaide Street North in London, Ontario. April 22nd, Stockyards, Rick Sousay always puts on a great show, usually has a packed house all the time, and he has an 8 p.m. show with Boxing Ontario at the Stockyards Gym at 215 Riding, I believe it's Avenue in Toronto. April 23rd, Guelph MMA has an amateur boxing show with Boxing Ontario at the Royal Canadian Legion at 57 Watson Parkway in Guelph. And moving on to the month of May, May the 6th, Champs Eastside Gym is putting on a show with Boxing Ontario at the NAV Centre at 1950 Montreal Road in Cornwall. So I went there before for their nationals, and I believe it was sort of an outdoor show, but they also have, I guess, access to a gym, a really big gym. So I'm not sure if this is going to be an outdoor or indoor show, but it's going to be in Cornwall. And of course, there's going to be a pro show coming up in May in Cornwall involving Tony Lewis. So that's going to be an interesting show. Sorry, I think that pro show's in April. May the 6th, Pound for Pound Gym, 940 Brock Road, Unit number 7, Pickering. They're going to be holding a show at 7 p.m. With the Ontario Boxing Association. Counterpunch Promotions, Mary Lachewski is going to be throwing a show as well with the Ontario Boxing Association. May 13th, 2017, Billy Irwin is going to be throwing a Fight for Youth at 7:30 p.m. at the Meriden Center at 1 Ice Dogs Way in St. Catharines. And this is the one where they advertised Mike Tyson will be coming out. So for those of you that haven't met Mike, Iron Mike is an awesome guy. He's very personable, and it should be a great evening if he's able to come out there. May the 27th. This is going to be a big weekend. Lots of amateur boxing going on. First, they got the Fight to End Cancer, which is going to be taking place at 21 Old Mill Road in Toronto. They've got the Ontario Bronze Gloves Tournament, which is going from May the 26th to the 28th. But more importantly, we've got the Canadian Boxing Expo happening on Saturday, May the 27th at the Hansa House Hall. So we got the trade show from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, this trade show is not just for people in the boxing community, but it is for everyone else to come out and see what's happening in boxing. One of the things that the boxing community doesn't do is recruit aggressively, and that's one of the things I'm putting into effect and trying to do with the trade show, is get people interested in boxing wherever they're coming from, and then pointing them in directions of the gyms that are out there. If you're looking at buying boxing equipment, we're going to be having boxing equipment for sale there through IBF, through the trusted and reliable Green Hill brand that's been around for a long time. There's going to be, we got nutritionist supplement companies. There's a long list of vendors that I actually need to add to. If you check our events page, it's a public page on Facebook, then you can see the different companies that will be at the trade show. Also on May 27th, as part of the 2017 Boxing Expo, there's going to be the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame induction, which is pretty much sold out, and that is going to be happening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Boston Pizza at Courtney Park and here Ontario Street. So that's also going to be a great event. We have a musical act by Bonnie, and we have an illusionist, Ray Chance, who's also going to be there. So it's going to be very, very entertaining, and it's going to be a great night for the inductees. Also, in the evening, of Saturday, May 27th. The evening ends off with live amateur boxing with the Ontario Boxing Association at the Hansa House Hall, and that is going to be promoted by the DO Boxing Gym. And yes, that's this gym here. Brody Boone is going to be the matchmaker. So if you have fighters that want to be on that fight card, get in touch with him. He's going to be doing the matchmaking for it. It's going to be a great night of boxing. Moving on to June. So June 10th, we've got the OBA versus the USA. So Juan Guevara is going to be putting on live amateur boxing on June the 10th with the Ontario Boxing Association, and the site is going to be to be determined. Sorry. June 16th, Billy Irwin's putting on another show at the Scotiabank Center at 6815 Stanley Avenue in Niagara Falls, and that's with Boxing Ontario. And then June 24th, KO Boxing Club is going to be putting on a show with Boxing Ontario, 6 p.m. start time at the Wish Center at 117 King Street East in Chatham. August 12th, Brody Boone Hamilton Boxing Club is going to be putting on a fantastic amateur boxing show with the Ontario Boxing Association at Mohawk College, and you know, that's going to be a very exciting night of boxing. So lots of boxing happening. Rewatch this episode with a pen in hand, and you know, there's boxing basically happening all over Ontario. And you know, if you're looking for some exciting matches, you're gonna find them for sure. Again, watch this episode if you're looking to find a show in your area, or just to get a recap of all the shows that are going to be happening. Those of you that are going to be at the Shaw tonight, I will see you there despite getting over this little cold. And I want to thank you again for tuning into this episode. So remember, you can ask us any questions related to boxing by sending us a message through Twitter at DOKPOSIO, or through email okposio@hotmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe through YouTube, going to Dameon Okposio to get every episode of the DO Boxing Show. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.